Hi there, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain, where I actually sadly just finished off my coffee, and my coffee pot is actually empty, which is sad. However, I have my huge thing of water that one of my D&D people made for me. Got Dungeon Muse written on there because I like to refer to myself as a Dungeon Muse, not a Dungeon Master. I feel as though I'm a little bit more benevolent in my I guess they can kind of argue with me a little bit and or justify things, and I can be pretty lenient. But I'm here for the fun, not for the slaughter, so to speak. But we are diving into a book called Alice Pemberton's Bureau of Scientific Inquiry. Now, this is number 2 of the McGilliverse, and this is by George Allen Miller. Now, I didn't get to review the first book in the series, but I do plan on trying to go back, read it, and then do a follow-up episode for it. I've just got to find it. Now, it's no longer on NetGalley. The first one's not. But this one was, and the description was really quite funny in my personal opinion. So I thought I needed to pick it up, which I'm kind of pretty glad I did. I give this a good solid 4 stars for its humor, its wit, its satire, and just its silliness in general. I love books that don't take themselves too seriously. This is definitely sci-fi fantasy. It can get a little bit confusing, and there's a lot going on. But let's dive into the summary and we'll go from there. Being a genius isn't all it's cracked up to be. For 19-year-old scientific prodigy Alice Pemberton, whose hobbies include creating wormholes, it's actually awesome. But in a galaxy teeming with aliens, being inquisitive can often be dangerous. Desperate to unravel the secrets of the Krill, owners of a galactic wide spectral network containing the souls of the dead. So she's got to unravel this whole thing. Alice volunteered Eugene McGillicuddy to find a theoretical death particle. However, before she could reanimate Eugene, members of the Secret Service arrived to hire Eugene on a matter of national security. Now, I do think that it should be said that this whole desperate to unravel the secrets of the Krill and volunteering Eugene to find this theoretical death particle, most of that I think happens at the end of the first one. I'm not 100% certain, but it does seem to happen right before this book takes place. So I'm not certain how closely the books are lined up, like if it's going from the first one into the second one, like if their timelines are just consecutive, like one right after the other. But all of that seems to happen in the first book. And so when this book more or less opens, that's where we kind of have Alice, who has put Eugene McGillicuddy into this sort of almost partial death-like state with the hopes that he could find this theoretical death particle. And that's when the Secret Service show up in order to hire Eugene on a matter of national security. With science as her North Star and Eugene out of commission, Alice must uncover a galaxy-wide conspiracy, fend off the Krill who fear prying eyes into their monopoly of ghosts, and revive a quasi-dead Eugene McGillicuddy. On the knife edge of noir and absurdity, Alice Pemberton's Bureau of Scientific Inquiry will leave you breathless from this fast-paced, thrilling adventure. It was originally published October 23rd of 2024, but I did just receive this probably within the past week or so from NetGalley. So it was still available. I think they were going to have an archive date sometime in January, which is why I decided to go ahead and review it for January, because I did receive it towards the end of December and wanted to read it because I like humorous, fun books. It's about 300-ish pages on Kindle, and I want to say that my NetGalley app probably had it somewhere closer to 270, 280. But let's go from there, and we're going to dive into the story. So I will say first and foremost is Alice, she's this 19-year-old who's kind of more or less this assistant to Eugene. And Eugene is this omniscient sort of person. He may not like, if you ask him, okay, what's the meaning of life? He may not have known it before you ask him the question, but as soon as you ask him the question, he knows the answer. And so that is one of the reasons people are so eager to hire him for various like jobs is when this book starts and Alice has put Eugene into this partial death-like state where his body looks kind of dead, but there is a way that he can come back to his body. It's just not right now. So she can't just call him back. He is literally on some sort of mission out in the universe, in the galaxy. So Alice has to do this particular job for the Secret Service without her boss and his omniscient power. The thing is they actually have a specific question they want answered is, where's the president? Because the president of the United States has gone missing. And Alice is like, oh, well, I'll brief him on everything and then he'll come back and then he'll like have the answers for you. But I'm going to do all the legwork first. Well, I tell you what, this legwork takes us all over the stinking galaxy, and some of the wildest, craziest, weird things happen. And I think that is a little bit one of the things that made this book slightly more chaotic than I was expecting. Is I think there was more going on than needed to be going on. The way this story was woven together was just absolutely chaotic nonsense at points. Is I didn't really know what was happening. We go to this cafeteria that's got back corridors that can cut through places, and we have another kind of side story that's happening, but it's almost kind of like in the digital verse, almost kind of in like a VR world kind of happening. So we have that one happening. And so there's just a lot going on in the story overall that it does feel as though we don't stick to the main storyline very well, because we're constantly running back and forth to all the different alien races, alien beings. We've also got the president had a girlfriend, and so the girlfriend is on the lookout to try to find the president so she doesn't get kind of fingers pointed at her. But also he was going to break up with her because it wasn't good for his career, sort of thing. So maybe it was the guilty, or maybe it was the, not the guilty, maybe it was the girlfriend who was worried that she was going to get broken up with or something. There's lots of different things. And so we've got the Secret Society as well as the White House staffers who are like, okay, we need Eugene because he's going to be able to answer our question of where's the president. Well, he's not available. So this 19-year-old Alice has to run around and do all this legwork. And the thing is she is smart when it comes to creating these wormholes and these pocket dimensions where she can kind of like you've kind of seen like a bag of holding for like, or maybe you haven't seen it, but like a bag of holding for D&D that can hold like a large amount of things that it's bigger on the inside than on the outside, like a TARDIS, it's bigger on the inside rather than the outside. So she can create these little pocket wormholes, like on a thumb drive or what have you, that can hold large amounts of stuff. So she is really smart. The thing is it doesn't seem to really come into very good play as this story progresses, is because while she's a quote-unquote genius, I don't feel like there were any points in this story that she seemed overly smart, if that makes sense. Like, maybe she's genius with devices, but maybe not with people so much. I'm not sure. So, we do have all of that going on as well. And so we still have the Krill who are working more or less, I don't want to say against Alice, but they do seem to be after Alice at every turn, as well as a lot of other alien races, which gets a little cumbersome because we have so many different alien races that we are like interacting with. So I give this book 4 stars, but I'm gonna tell you it's chaotic. So there you go. That's both sides of it. Was it fun and funny? Yes. Do I feel like they over explained things? No, but I also kind of wish they had explained a little more on certain things and maybe hadn't brought in so many different alien races for me to try to figure out and so many chaotic environments to figure out. Um, we do have this mystery to be solved of where's the president. So we are on kind of a mystery adventure. It is not a thriller. There are no, I guess I would say there was no spies like chasing after Alice, but the Krill are kind of on Alice's tail. And we just have a lot of other alien races as well. So there is a lot of detail if you're trying to pay attention to everything, and some of that detail doesn't feel important. But with that being said, I do give it 4 stars. I think that this book was well worth the read. I like sci-fi fantasy. I like when, honestly, I don't get muddied down or bogged down with some sort of romancy story sometimes. I just don't need it in every book. And there's no real love interest in this book, which is great. She's just a 19-year-old girl, so she just gets to run around doing her adventures, which is awesome. And I see where Catherine E. Hagen on NetGalley or Goodreads, she says that reading this is a lot like watching Mystery Science Theater 3000. So that is actually a pretty good way to describe it. Like you're watching all of this chaos happen and you're just not sure, but it's quite funny because I will say like the tongue-in-cheek humor is pretty on point, and I do, like I said, plan on going back and reading the first one. She does say, Miss Catherine E. Hagen, she does recommend reading the first one, which is Eugene McGillicuddy's Alien Detective Agency. So I do plan on going back and reading that one, and I wonder if that's actually one that might help clear up some of these alien races for me. Because I think that was just where my brain was like, there is so much going on. Like, I don't think I can hold all of these different things in my brain right now. Now, it could be that, or it could be because maybe I was also in the middle of reading 2 other books at the same time. But I can usually do pretty well with like an audiobook and like an ebook and then like a physical book. I can usually do pretty good keeping that compartmentalized in my head. But I like, because this one felt like it had so many moving pieces, I almost needed to focus on this one a little bit more to make sure I got the premise of what was happening. Because let's just say a lot of things are happening, but it's funny. And Alice is a good character, really fun character, solving mysteries on her own. Hopefully she gets to become a partner in this detective agency. And we do have all these aliens and the humans. And honestly, I kind of like some of these aliens a little more than I like humans. But that can happen sometimes, right? Sounds like some of these aliens are like, kind of like able to morph and maybe kind of like blobby and all those sorts of fun things. Oh, and one of the things that I got for Christmas looks kind of like a gelatinous cube from D&D, which is, it's like a stress ball, but I do feel like at least one of these aliens probably had a gelatinous cube like being to it. So I love that. I love when there are creative alien races. Like, they don't all have to be like, looks like a badger, looks like a, this, I guess, the basic grays that we would all envision when you think aliens, so to speak, or when we watch the movie Independence Day or something like that, or maybe you've watched the movie Aliens and you've got, what are they called, xenomorphs, is that right? Anyway, those creepy things as well. I had a fun time. I did get this book for free from NetGalley. I do plan, like I said, to go back and read the other one, and I think that's really all I really wanted to say about this book, because I don't want to give away too much of the spoiler, of what's going on. other than Alice has to figure out one, how to avoid all these aliens kind of on her tail, and try to figure out what happened to the president. So that's the main storyline. And there's just a lot of other things also happening along the way. And there are a lot of other interweaving factors involved. And yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But it's fun. And I think it was worth a read. And it was a good 4 stars for sure. But until next time, I don't know. You let me know. Let me know what y'all are interested in reading, in hearing about, and all of that sort of fun stuff. I hope you'll like and subscribe. I hope you'll stick around. I am going to do my very best to continue with my releases of every other day, at least as long as I can, for however many books I've got. I've probably got to start signing up for February books soon, because I don't think I have nearly enough to fill my February schedule yet. But I will see you guys on the next page, and I hope you have a great one.